A man on his knees in a labyrinth, both arms sliced off, sobbing into the dirt, begging for his life. This is the kingdom's most decorated court mage, bowed to by nobles, feared by monsters, praised as a genius across 3 continents. And the guy standing over him with a bloody sword was supposed to be the kingdom's weak, useless new hero, summoned yesterday, laughed at this morning, framed as a screw-up by lunch. Now rewind a little. A throne room packed with nobles, a summoning circle glowing gold on the marble floor. The second the new hero opens his eyes, he doesn't gasp, doesn't blink, doesn't ask where he is. He locks eyes on the court mage standing beside the king, sprints straight at him, and beats him unconscious in the middle of the ceremony before anyone can even scream. Rewind further. A woman with a warm smile who spent 3 straight years telling our guy she believed in his dream of a peaceful world. 3 years of shared meals, shared plans, shared quiet nights around a campfire. 3 years of when this is over, we'll build something better. And the exact second the Demon King's body hits the floor, she is standing above our hero, laughing, driving a blade through his chest while his own severed arm is still lying at her feet. Skip forward. A rock dragon the size of a mountain, opening a mouth full of magma, rearing back for a killing strike. Our hero doesn't dodge. He grabs a glowing dungeon core the size of a melon, smashes it into his own arm, forces open a broken magic circuit that has been dead for 30 years, and stops the dragon's ultimate move with a wall of pure light. Skip forward again. That same court mage, panicking, sprinting into the throne room with a royal kill order. And our new hero, cheerful as anything, thanks him warmly in front of the king, bows politely, then vanishes in a flash of blue while every single guard in the room slowly turns their heads and stares at the man he just framed for high treason. And one more. A dead demon king. Not the current one. A different one. The one this story's hero killed 30 years ago. She's sitting on a rock deep in a labyrinth. Dusty, salty, missing 4 out of 5 of her body pieces. Sipping tea somehow. And she offers our boy a deal. Track down her replacement. Track down his betrayers. Split the world clean in half when they're done. Yeah, this story goes places. So let's back up, way up, because to understand why our guy is out here shoving dungeon cores into his own arm and framing court mages for treason, you need to know what these people did to him the first time around. His name is Matsuki Shin, just Matsu to his friends. Or, well, the people he thought were his friends. About 30 years ago, in a version of Earth pretty close to ours, Matsu was a normal high school kid. Nothing special about him. Then one morning, in the middle of a school hallway, the floor lit up gold, a summoning circle cracked open under his feet, and boom, welcome to Ledia. New world, new sky, new rules. Ledia is that classic fantasy cocktail. Kingdoms with kings, demons who want to burn them down, elves and demi-humans and dwarves squabbling with humans, labyrinths in every corner of the map coughing up monsters. Magic is real, but you need this thing called a crest to actually be good at it. Think of a crest as a tattoo the world engraves on your soul. Some people get weak ones, some get combat crests, some get support crests, the rare ones get scary crests, and then there's the hero's crest. That one is a legend, the gold standard, basically God mode. Matsu had the hero's crest. The king and his court aren't shy about telling him why they yanked him across dimensions. There's a demon king out there named Ortega. He's carving up the continent. Human cities are burning, and the local heroes are getting stomped. So the kingdom uses their one shot at the hero summoning ritual, and out pops a scared teenager who has never held a sword. Not exactly the guy they were hoping for, but that crest on his hand starts glowing, and the mages get very excited very fast. Matsu doesn't take it well at first. He wants to go home. He tries yelling, tries bargaining. Nobody has a return ticket. Nobody has a return spell. He is stuck. Then he meets his party. Ryu is the court mage. Sharp face, calm voice, this whole quiet genius vibe that makes everyone treat him like he's already saved the world twice. He offers to teach Matsu magic. Actually teaches him magic. Actually seems to care. Donis is an Oni. Huge dude. Red skin, one horn, a laugh that could shatter a beer mug. He grabs Matsu by the shoulders on day 1 and tells him not to worry. They'll get through this together. Backslaps him so hard Matsu's teeth rattle. That kind of guy. And Lucy. Lucy is the knight. Silver hair, soft eyes, kind smile. She sits with Matsu on the first night, when he's hiding under his blanket trying not to cry, and quietly asks him what his home was like. She listens. She tells him she thinks his dream, this dumb, naive dream of a world where people don't need to fight anymore, is the most beautiful thing she has ever heard. She promises she'll help him build it. Our boy falls for it, completely. Because he's 16 and terrified and alone in a world that summoned him like a delivery order, and here are 3 people acting like family. So he trains, and he trains, and he trains. For 3 years, these 4 crisscross the continent together. They clear labyrinths, they save villages. Matsu's hero crest wakes up more and more with every fight. His swordplay gets scary. His spells get scarier. Ryu starts calling him a monster in a proud, teachery way. Donis roars with laughter every time Matsu one-shots a boss. Lucy quietly walks up after every fight, wipes the blood off his cheek with her sleeve, and tells him he's amazing. 3 years. Matsu believes every second of it. He genuinely, 100% believes he has found his people, his purpose, his future. He starts sketching plans for what they'll do after the war. Rebuild burnt villages, fund schools, teach cooperation between races, big idealistic teen hero stuff. And then they reach the Demon King, Ortega's throne room, black stone, green fire in the braziers, a boss fight that makes every fight before it look like a warm-up. Matsu goes in first, draws the Demon King's attention, eats hit after hit. Ryu launches his biggest spells from range. Donis body checks the Demon King into a wall. Lucy carves lines through the enemy's ribs. They win. The Demon King collapses. Green fire everywhere. Silence. Our boy is standing there breathing hard, arms shaking on the hilt of his sword, thinking they actually did it. He turns to smile at his party, and Ryu chops his arm off from behind. Just like that. One clean spell, right at the shoulder joint. Matsu's sword arm hits the ground before his brain even catches up. He drops. He stares. He looks up at Ryu with the dumbest, most confused, most heartbreaking expression a person can have. Ryu smiles. That same calm teacher smile. Explains it like he's explaining a math problem. The plan was always this. Use the summoned kid as bait. Let his freakish crest weaken the boss. Take the kill for themselves. Split the glory 3 ways. A summoned outsider getting the credit for killing the Demon King was never on the menu. The kingdom, the church, the guilds, none of them were going to let some teenage foreigner become the biggest name in history. Matsu tries to speak. Tries to say, Lucy, tell them this isn't real. Lucy walks over, kneels down beside him, puts a hand on his cheek. That same soft touch he'd known for 3 years. Then she laughs. Not a mean cackle. Worse. A tired, casual, honest laugh. Like she's finally allowed to stop performing. She tells him his dream was cute. Genuinely cute. Nobody actually believes in peace. Nobody actually believes in cooperation. Everyone she knows was just waiting for the war to end so they could grab their peace. She thanks him for being useful, says he was a very good tool, and then she slides her blade under his ribs and pushes it up through his heart. Donis is standing over Ryu's shoulder the whole time, laughing his big Oni belly laugh, telling Matsu he really thought he had friends? That's adorable. The last thing Matsu sees before his vision goes dark is the 3 of them clinking swords together over his body like they're at a bar. Then black. Now smash cut forward 30 years. A different throne room. The same kingdom, but the decor has updated. New tapestries, new king on the seat. Older, grayer nobles. And on the marble floor, a summoning circle blooms open in gold and blue, exactly like the one that dragged Matsu here the first time. A body rises out of it. A teenage boy. Black hair, sharp eyes, thin frame. He wobbles a little, blinks once, and takes a slow look around the room. The court is already congratulating themselves. The king is already smiling. The mages are already fussing over the crest tattoo forming on the boy's hand. Everyone is doing the standard hero summoning ceremony. Except the boy is not confused. The boy is not scared. The boy is not looking around like he doesn't understand. The boy is scanning the crowd like a hitman checking exits. And then his eyes land on the king's right hand. On a tall, calm man in dark robes. Silver hair now, where it used to be black. Older face, older lines, but the same eyes. The same smug little smile. Ryu. Older, still alive, standing right there. Announced as the kingdom's grand court mage. Legendary hero of the previous Demon King War. The savior of the continent. Matsu, or Shin as he's calling himself in this new body, doesn't say a word, doesn't shout, doesn't ask what year it is. He just moves. He crosses the throne room in 3 steps, plants his foot on a noble's shoulder for a boost, launches himself forward, and drives an elbow straight into Ryu's jaw. Ryu goes down. Shin lands on top of him, grabs him by the collar, slams his skull into the marble, again, and a 3rd time, a 4th, a 5th. The throne room absolutely loses its mind. Nobles are shrieking. Guards are drawing swords. The king is on his feet screaming. Mages are trying to figure out if their brand new hero has already snapped. By the time 3 guards manage to peel Shin off Ryu, the court mage is out cold, nose broken, one eye swollen shut, blood pooling under his beautiful robes. And the new hero, panting a little, wipes his hand on his sleeve and lets the guards drag him back like he had a great time. The king is furious, screaming, "What is the meaning of this? What sort of savage did the ritual pull? Should we send him back? Can we send him back?" Shin's answer is immediate. Sorry. I have no idea what came over me," he says with the flattest voice a person can produce. Must be the summoning sickness, must be a psychic reaction, must be the crest destabilizing, so sorry. He looks at the ground, he looks meek, he acts small. The court buys about half of it. The king orders him confined to a guest suite until the grand court mage can wake up and explain what happened. Guards escort him out with hands on their hilts, and the moment Shin is behind that guest room door, alone, he sits on the edge of the bed and lets his real face come back out. He wasn't crazy. He knew exactly what he was doing. He is Matsuki Shin. He is the hero from 30 years ago. He was murdered in this same castle by 3 people, and now, in a fresh younger body with a dormant version of his old crest, the world has done him a very stupid favor and dropped him 10 feet from one of them. He looks at his shaking hands. Little kid hands. Weak little kid hands. His muscles aren't there. His magic reserves are pitiful. The hero crest is on his skin, but it's flat and cold. Blocked off. Sealed under something. Whoever murdered him last time did a proper job. His pathways are wrecked. Any real spell would blow this body apart. Fine. He can work with fine. Because the party that killed him is still out there. And now they're old, comfortable, and slow. And he is young, angry, and knows every single one of their weak spots. He needs 3 things: information, a weapon, and a way out of this castle that doesn't end with him getting jumped by 100 royal guards. The information part starts fast. A pretty young maid brings him lunch. Shin plays clueless. Asks her, all wide-eyed and innocent, if she can bring him some books about recent history. He wants to catch up on the world he's supposed to save. She melts a little. Sure, hero, anything for you. Books start showing up. Kingdom histories, continental maps, church records, a big illustrated chronicle of the previous hero's grand adventures 30 years ago, with beautiful hand-drawn portraits of a smiling Matsu and his beloved party. He almost throws it out the window. Instead, he sits down and reads. And what he learns puts a slow, ugly smile on his face. The official story is that the previous hero, Matsu, died a glorious death defeating the Demon King. Sacrificed himself in the final blow. Beautiful. Tragic. Statues in every city. The 3 party members went on to become national treasures. Ryu became the youngest court mage in history. Donis vanished for a bit, then reappeared as a general in a different kingdom. Lucy took on the title of Saintess and got promoted, and promoted, and promoted, until she became the head of an entire order of paladins. Except, and here's the funny part, the current chronicles have holes in them. Big obvious holes. Any record of Donis and Lucy in the last 20 years has been quietly, carefully erased. Their names show up in the old hero war histories. Then they gradually stop appearing at all, like someone went through every archive with a very careful chisel. That is not the profile of a national hero peacefully retiring. That is the profile of someone hiding. The next lump of ugly news comes from a scroll about the current situation. Because guess what? The kingdom is back to square one. There is a new Demon King. Same name as the last one. Ortega. Rampaging across the border. Burning villages. Recruiting monsters. Shin frowns at that. He killed Ortega. He watched Ortega die. He held Ortega's severed head. Ortega is very dead. Which means either the current Demon King stole the name, or the story of Ortega's death was a lie for the public. And considering everything else about Shin's death was also a lie for the public, he is leaning hard toward option 2. He puts the scroll down, he starts to laugh. Quietly at first, then a little louder. That kind of tired, half-crazy laugh you do when the universe has just handed you a gift-wrapped opportunity. 3 betrayers, one 30 years older, sitting one hallway away with a broken nose. One vanished into a foreign army. One promoted to saintess and probably sleeping in a golden bed somewhere. Plus a demon king who was supposed to be dead but somehow isn't, wearing the same name like a costume. His to-do list writes itself. Step 1. Get out of this castle alive. Step 2. Get a real weapon. Step 3. Find a way to get the hero crest working again, because right now this new body couldn't kill a training dummy. Step 4. Ruin Ryu before he even knows what's happening. Step 5. Everyone else. In order. He glances at the door. 2 guards outside. Nice armor. Bored faces. He can hear one of them yawning. Shin cracks his knuckles. New body, new plan, same target list. He gets up off the bed, walks over to the window, and quietly starts checking sightlines to the courtyard below. Down there in the training yard, a squad is drilling with practice swords. Rack of real blades on the wall behind them. Perfect. He has been in this world for about 6 hours. Ryu is going to wish they'd just left him in that first grave. Night falls. The castle quiets down. Torch flames get lazy in their brackets. The 2 guards outside Shin's door swap shifts, and the new pair look even more bored than the last. One of them is already leaning on his spear. The other is picking at a scab on his knuckle. Inside the room, Shin is sitting on the floor doing stretches like a good little foreign kid trying to work out the summoning aches. Perfectly normal. Perfectly harmless. He even hums a little tune he heard the maid singing. Then he stops humming. He rolls onto his feet, pads over to the door, and knocks. Politely. Twice. The scab-picking guard grunts and opens up a crack, asking what the hero wants now. What the hero wants is for that guard's face to introduce itself to the wooden doorframe. Shin yanks him inside by the collar, spins him, plants a knee under his chin, and puts him out in 3 seconds flat. The second guard tries to shove in behind him. Shin drops low, sweeps the guy's legs, catches his spear as it falls, and cracks the butt of it against his temple. 2 bodies. 1 room. 0 noise loud enough to carry. He strips the bigger guard's cloak, boots, and short sword. The armor won't fit his skinny new body. That's fine. He's not planning to stand and fight anyone tonight. He's planning to be a very quiet ghost. Out into the hallway. He knows this castle. Same layout as 30 years ago, mostly. They redid the tapestries and added a new wing on the east side, but the bones of the place haven't moved. He slips down a servant's staircase he used to sneak snacks through when he was a stupid, trusting teenager. Ryu's workshop is easy to find. Same tower as before. Grand court mage privileges. Big round chamber at the top, warded to hell and back, with about 40 different security spells layered into the door, which, honestly, is adorable. Because when you spend 3 years traveling with a mage, you learn how his wards think. And Ryu's wards all follow the same lazy pattern he used at 19. Shin finds the seam, pushes a thumb of stolen guard blood into the sigil at the base of the door, whispers the counter key. The wards give a soft blue sigh and fold open like a well-trained pet. Inside, Ryu is exactly where Shin expected him to be. In the workshop, not the infirmary. Because Ryu is a proud man, and proud men do not lie in a healer's bed after being punched out by a teenager. Ryu is standing at his research desk, one eye still swollen shut, jaw purple, running a light healing spell over his own face while muttering. Shin closes the door behind him, reactivates the wards, locks them from the inside using Ryu's own runes. The click makes Ryu look up. For a second, the court mage doesn't understand what he's looking at. New hero, out of his suite, holding a stolen guard sword. Then he squints his good eye. Then Shin smiles. Not a nice smile. The specific one Matsu used to do at 15 when Ryu beat him at chess. That smile lands on a 30-year-old face and turns Ryu the color of old paper. You, Ryu breathes. Me, Shin agrees. Ryu goes for a spell right away. Smart. A tight fireball, workshop safe, tuned to hit soft flesh without cracking the stone. He is genuinely fast. Grand Court Mage fast. Shin sidesteps it without looking. Ryu's mouth falls open a little. Second spell. Windblade this time, thin as a razor, aimed at Shin's throat. Shin drops under it. His stolen boots don't even squeak. Third. Lightning fork. 2 branches, one high, one low. Shin twists between them, comes up inside Ryu's guard, and taps him on the forehead with 2 fingers. Tap. Ryu freezes. Shin's little kid hand is thin and weak and shaky. The tap on Ryu's forehead has no power behind it. It doesn't need any, because both of them know what the tap means. It means, if I wanted to, that was your skull. It means, you old idiot, you couldn't land a spell on me 30 years ago and you can't land one on me tonight. Ryu's legs give out. He sits down hard on his own workshop floor, staring up. Shin sits down too, cross-legged, sword across his lap, very patient, very calm, like he has all night. Which honestly, he kind of does. Talk, he says. Ryu talks. The words come out in pieces. Half of them are excuses. Half of them are questions. Then, slowly, as Shin waits, the real stuff comes out. Everything Ryu tells him, the part of Shin that was still hoping he had it wrong, dies quietly in a corner. The betrayal wasn't a moment of weakness. It wasn't a heat of the battle mistake. It was planned, written down, rehearsed. Ryu had been in contact with the church and the crown for months before the final Demon King fight. All of them agreed a summoned outsider could not, under any political circumstance, be allowed to be the one who officially killed the Demon King. A foreign teenager becoming the biggest icon on the continent would destabilize 3 kingdoms. So the plan was simple. Let Matsu tank the boss. Let his crest do the heavy lifting. Then remove him. Donis was in on it from day one. That big backslapping Oni had been fighting alongside Matsu the entire war, knowing exactly how it was going to end. Every campfire laugh was a lie. Lucy? Ryu smiles a little through his broken jaw when he explains Lucy. Lucy volunteered. Lucy was the church's choice. The saintess role was already promised to her before she and Matsu ever met. Her whole gentle knight act was a costume. Her interest in his dream was a script. She spent 3 years quietly cataloging every one of Matsu's soft spots, so she'd know exactly where to slide the blade at the end. Shin listens without moving. The Demon King thing, Ryu goes on, well, that's the fun part. Ortega didn't die, the kingdoms made peace with him. A quiet deal. Ortega gave up the throne, kept his life, and the current Demon King, also named Ortega, is Ortega's chosen successor, a different demon entirely. They kept the name because the name is scary. Marketing. Where is Lucy now? Shin asks. Volcania region, Ryu says. Not personally, but her order runs 3 chapter houses out that way. She travels between them. Where is Donis? Ryu hesitates. Shin taps him again. Same 2 fingers, same spot. Donis is not who he pretended to be, Ryu whispers. Donis is a demon, full demon, not an Oni. Been a spy for the new Ortega for years. He's out east, deep in demon country. Shin absorbs that, nods slowly, files it under future problems. And you, he says. I've been serving the crown, Ryu says. Loyally. Honestly. I regret. Save it, Shin says. Ryu stops talking. Shin stands up, dusts off his stolen pants, looks around the workshop with genuine curiosity, like a kid at a museum. Ryu has real toys up here. Enchanted crystals in racks. A whole shelf of magic stones for combat. A big mounted showpiece sword on the wall, jeweled hilt, gaudy as sin, probably worth an entire village, and a very heavy iron chest against the far wall with the royal seal burned into it. Personal treasury. Ryu keeps a chunk of the kingdom's coin in his own workshop, because he doesn't fully trust the vault. Perfect. Also on the wall, a transfer circle, the kind that lets a court mage jump around the kingdom to important sites. It's a big one, fresh runes, anchored to several destinations. One of the anchor names catches Shin's eye immediately. Abyss Labyrinth. Oh, he says out loud. That's nice of you, Ryu. Ryu on the floor tries to stand up. Shin flicks a magic stone off the shelf and pins his sleeve to the workshop table with a tiny lightning spike. Ryu yelps. Now, Shin picks up a couple of stones, rolls them in his palm. He can't cast much on his own. Body's too fresh, crest is asleep, reserves are laughable. But magic stones don't care about your reserves. Magic stones are batteries. You crush them, you get the spell. He is now, effectively, a very small teenager with a pocket full of grenades. He starts strolling around the workshop. Ryu, from the floor, watches him with the expression of a man doing math and hating the answer. Please, Ryu tries. Shin taps the treasury chest with the flat of his blade. Interesting. He runs a finger along the transfer circle. Interesting. He opens Ryu's logbook, skims a page. reads a bit about how much gold Ryu has been quietly siphoning off the royal budget for personal research. Very interesting. Then Ryu tries his last card. He goes for a suicide bomb. His robes have been enchanted from the inside, a little safety net for a paranoid court mage. If Ryu clicks his fingers a specific way, the sigils inside the fabric detonate in a wide blast, enough to reduce the workshop and everyone in it to charcoal. He is willing to eat it if it means killing this ghost from his past before this ghost can wreck his life. Ryu clicks. Except Shin has been watching Ryu's hands the whole time. He saw the sigils on the inner sleeve the second Ryu sat up. He knows exactly what the click is for. The instant Ryu's fingers snap, Shin is already moving. He is across the room in 2 steps. He plants a foot on Ryu's chest, wrenches the enchanted robe off Ryu's shoulders, spins with it, and throws it at the workshop's stained glass window like a bedsheet at a laundry line. The robe hits the glass, sails out into the night, and explodes about 40 feet above the courtyard in a very impressive orange fireball that no one on the ground quite understands. Alarm bells start ringing everywhere. Ryu, on the floor, in his undershirt, is now staring at Shin with what can only be described as the face of a man watching his last plan set itself on fire and fall out a window. "Please," he tries again. Shin walks over, puts a boot on his chest, points the guard sword at his throat. "Not tonight," Shin says. "Tonight I need you alive. Because tonight, my friend, you are going to be very, very useful." He crouches. He drops the tone. He gets close, and he tells Ryu what is going to happen next, in about 30 seconds, in the calmest voice he can manage. Then he stands up, grabs a couple of very expensive-looking items off Ryu's shelves, a rare ceremonial dagger, a pouch of court seals, a pair of enchanted rings marked with the royal insignia. He pops the treasury chest with a magic stone, scoops out a satisfying amount of gold and gems into a sack, and stuffs it all into Ryu's own personal bag. Then he takes the bag and slings it over Ryu's shoulder like a helpful nephew helping his grandpa pack for a trip. Guards are pounding on the tower door now. The wards are holding, barely. Voices shouting for the Grand Court Mage. Voices shouting for the king. Voices asking if anyone has eyes on the new hero. Shin drags Ryu to his feet, marches him toward the transfer circle. Ryu, sleeve still pinned, staggers along. Then Shin does the funniest thing he's done all week. He drops the wards. The workshop door bangs open. Guards flood in. The king's personal captain, 3 court mages, and about a dozen soldiers, all with weapons drawn. They stop dead when they see the scene in front of them. Their new hero, apparently safe and sound, standing next to the Grand Court Mage. The Court Mage is bruised. The Court Mage's robe is gone. The Court Mage has a bag over his shoulder that looks suspiciously stuffed. The treasury chest is open. Some royal seals are visibly in Ryu's hand, because Shin put them there, and a transfer circle behind them is warming up. Shin's face lights up in a beautiful, grateful, teenage hero smile. "Grand Court Mage," he says loudly, with lots of feeling. "Thank you so much for warning me about the attack. I would have died without you. And thank you for volunteering to escort me somewhere safe personally. It is such an honor. I will never forget your generosity." He shakes Ryu's free hand vigorously. Ryu's mouth is open. Ryu is making a sound like a boiling kettle. The captain of the guard, who does not have full context, but does have eyes, is looking at the treasury chest. Then at the seals in Ryu's hand. Then at the bag of gold. Then at the fireball still smoking outside the window. He starts to speak. Shin flashes him a peace sign, steps into the transfer circle, drags Ryu 1 step in, and then, at the last possible second, shoves Ryu back out of the circle, just as the runes go blue. The last thing anyone in the workshop sees is the new hero waving cheerfully as he vanishes in a flash. The last thing Ryu sees is his own life falling apart in real time. He is standing alone in his workshop, robe missing, treasury open, royal seals in his hand, bag of gold on his shoulder, sleeve pinned to his own table with his own magic. A brand new hero has just vanished through his personal transfer circle, which was supposedly a state secret, and a dozen very confused guards are looking at him with the exact expression of people who are about to arrest their own Grand Court Mage for high treason and grand theft. Ryu opens his mouth. Nobody wants to hear it. Meanwhile, blue light, a rush of wind. Shin's stomach flips as the transfer circle spits him out somewhere very different from a cozy tower workshop. He lands hard on cold black stone. Rolls once. Comes up in a crouch. Guard sword ready. Air hits his face. Dry, old, metallic. Smells like a cave that has never had a window. Above him, no sky. Above him, a ceiling of jagged black rock so far up it disappears into gloom. Around him, columns the size of towers. All natural, all warped by time. Faintly glowing veins of red run through the walls, pulsing slowly like the labyrinth is breathing. He knows this place. Even though he has never been inside it, he knows it by reputation. The Abyss Labyrinth. One of the 5 great labyrinths on the continent. Created by the previous Demon King to defend her borders. Never fully cleared. Rumored to have a core made of pure condensed magic sitting deep at the bottom, guarded by something called the Earth Commander. Ryu's private transfer circle was anchored here because Ryu, being a greedy bastard, has been sneaking down here to study the labyrinth's leftover magic for his own research. Not anymore he isn't. Shin stands, stretches, cracks his neck. Something snarls in the dark. Off to his left. Big something. 6 eyes catching the red vein light. Long claws, low body, hunter's shape. He grins. Perfect. Perfect. This is exactly what he needs. This body is weak. His pathways are broken. The hero's crest on his hand is dead weight until he can force it open. And the only known way to force a broken crest open is to feed it something bigger than it can handle. A shock, a flood, a concentrated core of raw magic. Which is convenient because this labyrinth has one. He points his guard sword at the 6-eyed thing in the dark. Line up, he tells it. All of you. I'm on a schedule. The thing lunges. He steps aside, puts the guard sword through its neck, uses a magic stone to cheat the killing blow, kicks the body off, doesn't even breathe hard. Then he starts walking. Down. He walks for a long time. The Abyss Labyrinth has floors. Shin doesn't know how many. What he does know is that it gets progressively worse the further you go. On the upper floors, cave lizards, rock slimes, a pack of shadow wolves that he shreds with 2 magic stones and a dive roll. Ordinary dungeon fare. He clears each floor with the calm efficiency of a man who has cleared 100 dungeons before. This body's muscles are new, but the movements are old. His brain still knows every trick. Sidestep the lunger. Bait the caster. Cut behind the pack leader. Pop a stone in the shaman's face. Down a floor. Fresh monsters. Down again. Stronger monsters. Down again. By floor 5, he is bleeding from 3 shallow cuts and starting to remember that this new body has stamina like a wet tissue. By floor 8, he is very glad Ryu's workshop had so many magic stones on that shelf. By floor 12, he stops for a break. Sits against a wall, watches his little kid hands shake, grins to himself. Compared to how weak he was 10 hours ago, he has already improved. His pathways are twitching. His crest is warming up just a little. Combat is prying open the seals. He also notices, on this floor, something he did not expect. Webs. Fat, sticky webs strung between the stone pillars. Egg sacs the size of oranges hanging in clusters. Earth spider territory. Big brown spider things with jaws that could snap a shield in half. Their eggs, when they haven't hatched yet, are basically balls of pure sticky. Glue in nature's most annoying form. Shin looks at the egg sacs. He looks at his sword. He grins. He picks about 6 of them, wraps them in cloth, stuffs them into his belt pouch. He doesn't have a specific use for them right now, but Hunter's instinct is telling him he might. Down another floor, down another. He has honestly lost count. He grabs a nap in a dead-end crevice. He kills a monster and eats part of it, which is disgusting, but food is food. He grabs a small water pool, drinks it, keeps going. Somewhere around what he thinks is the 15th floor, the labyrinth changes. The ceiling opens up. The pillars fall away. He steps out into a vast open chamber the size of a small city, and the red pulse in the walls is faster here, stronger, like a heartbeat right up against his own. And in the middle of that chamber, sitting on a raised stone platform ringed by cracked black pillars, is a soft glow, blue-green, steady, beautiful. He can feel the magic radiating off it from 100 paces away, pushing against his skin like a warm wind. The labyrinth core. He starts walking toward it, already grinning. And that is when the shouting starts. Behind him, off to the side. A woman's voice, sharp and annoyed, yelling in a language he hasn't heard in 30 years. Demonic. Old-style, pure court demonic. The kind of dialect nobody speaks anymore except in demonic royal families. He turns. A figure comes sprinting out of a side tunnel, dust cloud behind her, one arm hanging weird, hair flying loose, small frame, pointed ears, skin the color of pale ash, eyes glowing gold. Torn black clothes that were clearly very fancy at some point in the last century. She is running very fast, and she is running from something. That something is following her. The ground under Shin's feet starts to shake. Little pebbles skip. Dust falls from the ceiling. A rumble rolls in from the direction the woman came from. Then, out of the tunnel behind her, a shape squeezes into the chamber. Then a bigger shape. Then a much bigger shape. And then a mountain of black scales unfolds itself into the open space, joint by joint, until it stands there staring at them with two glowing molten eyes the size of wagons. A dragon, not a wyvern, not a drake, a full rock dragon. Body of a mountain range, teeth like tombstones. Molten cracks glowing along its ribs like a furnace door left open. Every step it takes cracks the floor. The Earth Commander, guardian of the Abyss Labyrinth Core. The small ash-skinned woman skids to a stop beside Shin, huffing hard. She glances at him, takes in his stolen guard cloak, his fresh little kid face, his stupid short sword, his completely calm expression. Then she looks back at the dragon, then at him again, then back at the dragon. "Oh good," she says, in perfectly clear common tongue. "Another idiot to eat first. Marvelous. Hey, human, do me a favor and die loudly, would you? I need a head start." Shin looks over at her. Really looks. The gold eyes, the pale ash skin, the elegant torn dress that used to be royal court black. The little curved horns just barely visible under the mess of her hair. A memory tickles the back of his skull. A throne room, green fire. A queen with those exact same gold eyes, standing in front of a black obsidian throne, holding a spear made of shadow. "Oh," he says quietly. "Oh no. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me," he says again, out loud, and he starts to laugh. Not a small laugh. A full, tired, delighted laugh. Because the universe, apparently, is not done being generous tonight. The universe is on a roll. The rock dragon roars. The chamber shakes. Rocks fall. Shin, still laughing, plants his little kid feet, raises his stolen guard sword, and grins at his old enemy standing next to him. "Elphus," he says, "long time." The demon king he killed 30 years ago turns her head slowly, stares at him. The rock dragon takes its first thundering step forward. The rock dragon takes another step. The whole chamber tilts. Loose stone rains down from the ceiling in fistfuls. The core on the raised platform pulses a little brighter, like even it can feel the pressure. Elphus stares at Shin, then at the dragon, then back at Shin. "Do I know you?" she says slowly. Shin doesn't answer. He is too busy running the numbers. This body, this crest, this one guard sword, 6 sticky spider egg sacs in his pouch, maybe 10 combat-grade magic stones left, and, standing next to him, one former demon king who is clearly running on fumes. Elphus catches him looking her over and bristles. Her left arm is hanging weird, her ribs are bruised through the torn dress, her horns have chips out of them. She looks like she has been fighting for her life for days. "Yes, I'm a mess," she snaps. "Yes, I know. My back has been kicked around this labyrinth for the last 6 months by that thing. If you have a plan, share it. If you don't, I'm using you as a distraction. Fair warning." Shin laughs. "Fair," he says. "Fair." The dragon roars again. Its molten cracks flare. The temperature in the chamber climbs about 10 degrees. It rears back, chest glowing orange, throat pulsing, charging up something big. Shin's brain does the math. Breath weapon, long charge, wide cone. If they stand where they are, they both cook. He grabs Elphus by the wrist. She yelps. He drags her sideways behind a fallen pillar and shoves her flat just as the dragon exhales. A river of molten fire washes past them. The stone in front of the pillar melts. Slag drips. The pillar itself starts glowing. Elphus, face pressed against rock, gold eye glaring at him from an inch away, hisses in his ear. "Okay, slightly less useless than I thought. Thanks," he says. Then he does something that makes her eye go wide. He takes the guard sword and rams it point down into the stone floor. Pops one magic stone against the blade. The stone flares, feeds the blade. Then he cracks another, and another, feeding stone after stone into the sword, until the plain guard steel starts to glow, first blue, then white. He is charging it. turning a cheap weapon into a very expensive bomb. Elphys watches this and slowly, silently mouths the word amateur, and also mouths the word wait, and also mouths the word actually that might work. Shin peeks around the pillar. The dragon has finished its breath. It is looking around the ruined chamber for corpses. It doesn't see any. It grunts, annoyed, and starts stomping toward the platform to guard its core. Wrong move, buddy, Shin whispers to Elphys. What's left in your tank? She snorts. Not enough to matter. Enough for one big shot. Yes or no? She hesitates, then nods once. One big shot, then I'm done. Might pass out. Good, he says. When I say, unload it on that thing's face. All of it. Don't hold anything back for later. There is no later. Do not, she says, tell a demon king how to cast. Former demon king, he corrects. She kicks his shin, hard. He doesn't wince, because his shin is currently a teenager's shin, and pain is a distant concept when there's a dragon in the room. He starts moving. Low, fast, using pillars and rubble as cover, Shin loops around the chamber. The dragon is heading for the platform. He is heading for the space behind it. On the way, he digs out his 6 sticky spider egg sacs. Nasty little glue bombs. He tucks one into each palm and stashes the rest on his belt. He reaches the base of the platform behind the dragon. Its huge tail is swinging lazily above him, thick as a house. Its back leg is planted, its front claws are on the platform steps. Center of gravity, forward. He throws a sticky bomb at the base of the tail. Splat. Sticks. Second bomb, on the base's other side. Splat. Third, along the tail's length where it meets the ground. Fourth, on the back leg. Fifth and sixth, on the joint where the tail meets the body. Sticky, sticky, sticky. The whole rear end of the dragon is now attached to itself and to the floor. The dragon feels the pull, tries to swish its tail, can't. Grunts, confused, twists its head to look over its shoulder. Perfect. Head is turned away from Elphys. Now, Shin shouts. Elphys doesn't hesitate. She stands up straight behind the far pillar, both hands out, and lets everything she has left go. A single tight beam of black-purple light. Not fireworks, not a wide blast. Concentrated. Focused. It hits the dragon's exposed face right under the eye socket, straight into the softer scales at the temple, and burns clean through the outer plate. The dragon shrieks. Its head snaps sideways. One molten eye goes out, half blind. Rear end glued. Furious. It thrashes. The stuck tail rips a chunk of stone floor out with it. The stuck leg tears. But it's slow. It's disoriented. It's exactly where Shin wants it. Shin yanks his glowing white-hot sword out of the ground. Sprints up along the dragon's flank. Uses a scale ridge like a staircase. Runs up its side. It shakes to throw him. He rides it. He is not a big enough weight for it to feel properly. He gets to the base of its skull, where the neck plating is thinnest, and he plants a foot. He raises the overcharged guard sword above his head. He drives it, blade first, straight into the base of the dragon's skull. The blade sinks, stops, sticks. He lets go and jumps. Halfway down through the air, he snaps his fingers. The sword, packed with about a dozen magic stones worth of raw energy, detonates inside the dragon's brain. The dragon's whole head comes apart in a slow, silent second, and then a very loud third. Chunks of skull, a geyser of molten blood. Half the neck cracks. The molten cracks along its ribs flicker and die. The entire mountain of a monster sways, groans, and topples sideways with a crash that shakes the floor and sends up a wall of dust. Shin hits the ground rolling, comes up in a crouch, covered in dragon blood, sword gone, body screaming, silence. Then Elphys, from behind her pillar, in a very small voice says, "Huh." He grins at her through dragon blood. She grins back through her own blood, and then falls over. He scrambles over, catches her before her head hits the stone. Props her up against the pillar. She is smiling in a slightly loopy, drained way. She waves a hand at him. "Fine," she mumbles. "Fine. Just not moving for a while." Shin nods, sets her down gently, checks she's breathing. She is. Good. Then he looks up. The core, sitting there on the platform, bright as a lantern, radiating waves of raw magic that hit his skin like static. He walks to it, slowly. His new body is shaking, ribs bruised. One shoulder popped and shoved back in during the run up the dragon's side. He is running on stubbornness and stolen adrenaline. The core is smaller than he expected. melon-sized. Feels alive when he wraps his hands around it. Feels like holding a piece of a sun that has been trained to sit still. He looks down at the hero's crest on the back of his other hand. Still dark, still asleep, still a dead tattoo. Yeah, he says. Sorry, crest, this is going to hurt. He tears open the sleeve on his crest arm. He grits his teeth. He raises the core. Then he slams it, hard, against the back of his own hand, right onto the crest. The core bursts. Not shatters, bursts. The condensed magic inside it comes flooding out all at once through the only opening available to it, which is the dormant crest under the impact. The tattoo lights up like someone dropped a torch onto oil. Every line of it screams awake. The magic tears through Shin's arm looking for pathways, finds them all sealed shut, and simply obliterates the seals from the inside out. Shin drops to one knee, screams, then bites down and stops screaming. His arm is glowing gold and blue from wrist to shoulder. The crest tattoo climbs up his skin, expanding, blooming, printing itself back into the pathways it was supposed to own. For a full 10 seconds he can feel his own bones vibrating. Then the light fades. Slowly, the heat drains. His hand stops shaking. He flexes his fingers. The crest on the back of his hand glows softly, then dims to a warm, alive black. He takes a breath. He pulls at his own magic, gently. Just a little. A thin line of white fire runs up his fingers, wraps his wrist, and settles. He laughs. Quiet, almost giggly. Because for the first time in this new body, he can feel it. His magic. His real magic. Not the full flood he used to have at his peak. Not close, but awake. Present. His. And with the crest breathing again, this small body is going to grow into it fast. Very fast. He wipes dragon blood off his face and walks back to Elphys. She has managed to sit up against the pillar. Her gold eyes are half open. She is watching him. She has seen the whole thing. That, she says slowly, was a hero's crest. He shrugs. She stares at him some more. 30 years ago, she says, in a black throne room, a very stupid boy with a very bright sword walked into my hall and defeated my entire honor guard. Then he defeated me. He didn't kill me at first. He tried to talk to me. He said something very embarrassing about how he wanted to find a way for demons and humans to stop this. He said it with his whole chest. It was so painful I almost killed him for it. Shin sits down across from her, legs crossed. He listens. I told him to grow up, Elphys says. I told him I did not need saving by a foreign teenager with a hero crest and a hobby. He got angry. We fought again. He won again. He killed me. Or he thought he did. He and his party. She tilts her head, looks at Shin's face. His new face. Nothing like Matsu's old face at all. But that was 30 years ago, she says. And you are, what, 16? Shin nods. So, reincarnation, resummoning, something. Resummoning, he says. Same soul. New body. New name is Shin now. Same everything else. Elphys lets out a small, tired, delighted laugh. Then she winces because her ribs don't like laughing. Well, she says. Well, well, well. And how did it end for you, Matsu? What did our precious kingdom do with the hero who won them their war? Shin tells her. He keeps it short. Ryu behind him. Arm off. Lucy's smile. Donis's laugh. The blade under his ribs. The joke about how his dream was cute. The clink of swords over his body. Elphys's grin fades as he talks. By the end, she is looking at him with an expression he does not have a name for. Not pity, not amusement, something in between anger and recognition. She is quiet for a long moment. Then she says, Ortega. Shin looks up. Ortega, she says. Same story. My own second in command. My own trusted general. I gave that man command of my armies. I taught him the old magic myself. And the moment he had the strength to challenge me, he did. He didn't just kill me. He cut me into 5 pieces, sealed each piece in a different labyrinth, and used my own name for his propaganda. The current demon king out there burning your kingdom's border villages? That is Ortega, wearing my throne, using my title, ordering my old subjects around, pretending to be me. Shin stares. She lifts her one working arm. She looks at it. She wiggles her fingers. I have been slowly reassembling myself for the last 30 years, she says. Piece by piece, labyrinth by labyrinth, one core at a time. The core in this labyrinth was the last one I needed for my legs and my magic to fully return. I was going to eat that core myself. You just shoved it into your arm. Shin winces. Sorry, he says. Do not be sorry, she says. You killed the dragon that has been beating me half to death for 6 months. And besides, you need it more than I do. Look at you. You are a stick figure with a sword. Also, I hate that I like you. Shin snorts. They sit in silence for a while. 2 people who were supposed to be dead, sitting in a labyrinth chamber full of dragon blood, sharing a headache. Alliance, Elphus says finally. Shin looks at her. Simple deal, she says. You are hunting your betrayers. I am hunting mine. Your list is human. Mine is demon. There is one overlap, which is the current demon king, because he is the reason your Donis and your Lucy are still alive and free. Ortega has been protecting them. They work for him now. Have for years. Shin absorbs that, files it. Very useful. I need a partner, Elphus goes on, because until my remaining pieces are found, I am at maybe a third of my old strength. And you need a partner because you are, no offense, currently a teenager. Together we are actually a threat. Apart, we are jokes. Deal? Deal? Shin says. They don't shake hands. She is too tired to lift hers. He is too covered in dragon blood to offer his. Instead, she just gives him a small nod, gold eyes half-lidded, and he nods back. Now, she says, carry me out of this labyrinth, hero. Piggyback. Chop chop, Shin blinks. You just made me an equal partner 2 seconds ago, he says. Yes, she says, and as my equal partner, you are going to piggyback me out of this labyrinth because I cannot walk. Move. He mutters something under his breath, gets down, and lets her clamber onto his back. She is lighter than he expected. She smells like old smoke and dust and something faintly floral underneath it all, like she used to be somebody's princess. She pokes his cheek from behind. Faster, hero. He starts walking. They exit the boss chamber and climb, slowly, back up through the labyrinth. On the way, monsters try to jump them twice. Both times, Shin flicks a burst of the new magic in his crest arm and puts them down without breaking stride. His reserves are still small, but the crest is doing the heavy work. It's giving him free efficiency. His spells cost less. His swings hit harder. His movement is faster. Even carrying a demon king on his back, he is fine. Elphus, dozing on his shoulder, occasionally makes helpful comments like too slow, or careful, or if you drop me I will eat your ears. Halfway up, she says something that changes the mood. They're coming, she murmurs. Behind us. He stops. Listens. Distant sound. Boots. Metal. A lot of both. How many? He says. 20 at least, she says. Maybe more. Well drilled. Military. Not adventurers. And ahead of them, faster, a caster. Familiar caster. Ugly signature. Shin sighs. Ryu, he says. She grunts. Yes. He is not being subtle about it. He is burning through his reserves to catch up. He must want you very badly. Shin thinks about it. About Ryu, framed, stripped of his position, humiliated in front of the king, sprinting through the labyrinth with a royal kill squad at his heels, trying to correct the mistake before it becomes permanent. He is desperate. Desperate men are stupid. Good. He sets Elphus down on a flat rock. She protests. He tells her to shut up and rest. He unslings a bag he has been carrying, dumps out 3 of his last magic stones, and starts setting up. Piggyback break, he says. She raises an eyebrow. We're doing this here, he says. Choke point. Narrow tunnel behind us. Open chamber in front. They funnel in one at a time. We hit them as they come out. She looks at the geometry, nods, approves. I can do 1 big spell, she says. Maybe 2. Then I nap. He nods. Understood. Then he crouches behind a boulder and waits. They don't wait long. The first squad member steps into the chamber. Full royal guard armor, sword and shield. Behind him, another. Behind that, another. They come in expecting a hurt teenager with a stolen sword, and maybe a demon nobody knew about. They see an empty chamber. They fan out. Cautious. Well-trained. Ryu is not among the first wave. Of course. He is not brave. Shin looks at Elphus. She looks at him. Now, he mouths. Elphus, from behind her rock, throws a low, controlled sweep of black-purple flame across the chamber floor. It doesn't kill the squad. It takes their footing. The stone under them cracks and shifts. They stagger. Shin is already moving. He goes low, under their guard. First soldier, Guard sword replacement is a captain's blade he picked up off a dead monster's ribs a few floors ago, into the gap in the armor at the hip. Down. Second soldier, elbow to the throat, blade across. Down. Third soldier, spin, hamstring, hilt to the base of the skull. Down. He is a different fighter now than he was in the workshop with Ryu. The crest is awake. The pathways are open. He is not overloaded, not close to old Matsu levels, but he moves like the old Matsu remembers moving. Clean, economical, ruthless. The rest of the squad panics. They try to form up. Elphus fires a second spell over Shin's shoulder that neatly takes out 3 of them at the back. Shin handles the middle. In under a minute, the chamber floor has 20 royal guards on it, and none of them are getting up. Then Ryu skids around the corner into the chamber. Robeless, bruised, eyes wild, panting, he sees the corpses of his royal kill squad on the floor. He sees Shin standing there, calm, a captain's sword in one hand. He sees a small, pale, gold-eyed woman leaning against a rock behind Shin, staring at him with the amused expression of a cat watching a mouse. Ryu makes one last stupid decision. He raises both hands, starts charging his biggest spell, full Grand Court Mage output, Lost Magic style, a Curse Lance, wide bore, would take Shin's head off and continue through Elphus for good measure. Shin does not let him finish. He is across the chamber in a blink. He is inside Ryu's guard. He slams the flat of his blade into Ryu's wrist and dislocates it. The spell breaks. Ryu screams. Shin steps around him, sweeps his legs, drops him face down on the stone, and puts a knee in his back. He takes Ryu's arm. Not by cutting, yet. He drags Ryu's face up by the hair. Holds his own captain's sword flat under Ryu's chin. Looks him in the eye. Ryu is crying now. Actually crying. Snot on his lip. Please, please, please. Over and over. Shin says nothing. He reaches into his own belt. Pulls out a very specific item. Not a magic stone. A very old, very expensive artifact he pocketed off Ryu's own workshop desk. A memory blade. Small, thin, translucent. Court mages use it to view suspect memories in criminal cases. Pop it into a person's temple and it plays their most recent, or their most emotionally significant, moments through the blade like a projector. Ryu sees it. Ryu's eyes go huge. No, Ryu says. No, no, no. Yes, Shin says. He puts the memory blade to Ryu's temple, activates it. The chamber around them dims. A ghostly image blooms in the air above Ryu's shoulder. A moment from Ryu's own memory. Green fire braziers. Obsidian throne, the old Demon King's chamber, right after the fight. Shin's old body, on the floor, arm off, blood pooling. Old Matsu, staring up, and around him. All 3 of them. Ryu, laughing quietly at his own cleverness. Donis, roaring, backslapping Lucy so hard she stumbles. Lucy. Lucy, gorgeous, silver-haired Lucy, sitting on a step beside Matsu's body, one boot up, eating a piece of dried meat out of her ration pack, joking about how his little peace speech at the campfire 2 weeks ago was the funniest thing she'd heard all year. The ghost image is silent, but you can read the mouths. You can see her laughing. You can see Donis snorting. You can see Ryu shaking his head and saying something like, "Really thought he had us." You can see Lucy shrug and say something short and cruel that ends with the words "summon trash." Then, at the end of the memory, Lucy leans over Matsu's body, brushes his hair off his forehead the way she used to at night, and drives her sword down through his chest with a bored little smile. The memory ends. The chamber is silent. Elphus, from her rock, looks away. Actually looks away. Gives him privacy. Shin doesn't say anything for a long moment. He is not crying. He is very still. He is not angry either. He is past angry. He is somewhere colder. He puts the memory blade back in his belt. Then he takes Ryu's arm, the one at the shoulder joint, and cuts it clean off. Ryu screams so loud it echoes up 2 floors. Shin picks up the severed arm, walks it over to a corner of the chamber, pulls out his last spider egg sack, wraps the sticky glue around the arm until it is a cocoon. Then he pops one of his last magic stones into it and detonates it. The arm bursts into pulp and fire. Gone. Unrecoverable. Unhealable. Even the best court healer in the world could not regrow that. Ryu is sobbing on the floor. Both arms gone. The first one from the throne room. The second one now. Just a torso and a head and a pair of legs and a lifetime of choices catching up. Shin crouches next to him. Speaks quietly. I was going to kill you tonight, he says. I really was. But then I thought about it, and I decided you don't get to die yet. Death is easy. Death is a nap. You are going to lie here in this labyrinth with no arms and no reserves, and a suicide curse baked into your own robes waiting to trigger the second you try to walk out. You are going to think about Matsu for a long time. You are going to think about how you spent 30 years enjoying your title and your gold and your wine while he was dead, and then, when you finally saw him again, you couldn't land a single spell on him. Enjoy the labyrinth, Ryu. Say hi to the monsters for me. He stands up. He walks back to Elphys, picks her up onto his back, ignores Ryu's sobbing behind him. The two of them walk out of the chamber, up the tunnel, toward the surface. Somewhere behind them, Ryu screams one more time, and then goes very quiet. Neither of them looks back. They come up out of the abyss labyrinth into a sky that Shin has not seen in what feels like a week. It has been about a day. The exit spits them out onto a rocky slope somewhere in the mountains northeast of the capital. Cold air. Real wind. A moon he actually recognizes. Shin sets Elphys down on a flat rock and just stands there for a second, breathing. Real air, real stars. Not that dead labyrinth pulse. Elphys stretches, winces, cracks her neck. Her left arm has started working again a little bit. Her ribs have stopped screaming. The forced rest and the distance from Ortega's seals are already healing her. She looks less like a ghost and more like a slightly banged-up noblewoman who is having a rough weekend. She glances at Shin. You look terrible, she says. Thanks, genuinely. You look like a raccoon fell into a barrel of dragon blood. I know. They set up a rough camp under a rock overhang. Shin gets a small fire going with a magic stone. He is careful with his stones now. He is down to maybe 4. He needs to restock, and to restock he needs money that isn't royal money. And to get money that isn't royal money, he needs to become an adventurer. Which is convenient, because that is exactly the plan. Elphys curls up next to the fire like a cat, watches him move around, watches him make a pot of hot water from a stream, and toss in some dried travel tea he stole out of a dead guard's pack. Watches him sit down across from her. You cook, she says. That is good. I am keeping you. I did not agree to cook. You did, when you made me your equal partner and then piggybacked me out of a dungeon. Congratulations. You are the cook now. He smiles a little in spite of himself. He hasn't smiled genuinely in a while. It feels weird on his new face. They talk while the fire pops. Not about the big stuff. They already covered the big stuff in the labyrinth. They talk logistics. Elphys lays it out. She has 5 body pieces total. She has recovered 4. The last one, the one she really needs to be at full strength, is her heart piece. Ortega hid it somewhere in the western labyrinths, and she is pretty sure which one, but she needs to travel to get there. And to travel, she needs to look like a normal person. And to look like a normal person, she needs to not be blazing gold-eyed and ash-skinned and covered in ancient royal court markings. She waves a hand. A subtle glamour settles over her. Her skin shifts from ash to a warm human pale. Her hair goes from platinum white to a soft light brown. Her eyes dim from glowing gold to a plain hazel. Her horns disappear under her hair. She looks like a slightly weird human girl in her early 20s. Pretty, sharp-featured, but nothing special. She grins at his surprised look. 30 years hiding from Ortega, she says. You pick up tricks. Good, he says, because we are going to the Volcania Union. That is where the wolf trader is. And that is where I want to start pulling on the guild network to find Lucy. Elphys tilts her head. Wolf trader. Not one of yours, he says. One of mine. There was a 4th party member I did not mention. Not a full member. A guide. A wolf race scout who traveled with us during the last leg of the Demon King War. Little guy. Warm smile. Trusted his eyes on the maps. He is the one who guided us into the final chamber, which means he knew the plan too, which means he was in on it, which means he was probably the one who scouted the throne room escape route for the party after they killed me. He knew. Elphys nods slowly. He knew. Then yes, he is on the list. They travel for 3 days. It's mostly walking. Shin's new body doesn't have the stamina for long marches yet, but the crest is helping, and every day he gets a little stronger. He is honestly stunned at how fast the recovery is going. His muscles are filling in. His height is edging up. This body was clearly picked and prepped for a hero role by the summoning ritual. It's designed to bulk out fast once the crest opens. Convenient. He'll take it. Elphys travels light. She sleeps a lot. She complains a lot. She critiques his cooking. She critiques his walking speed. She critiques his hair. When he tries to critique hers back, she informs him that a former demon king is above criticism. Thank you. He starts to like her. That is the annoying part. He starts to genuinely like her. Old Matsu killed this woman 30 years ago in her own throne room. New Shin is walking through a mountain pass with her while she rides on his shoulders and complains about the temperature. She is nothing like the queen in the Black Hall who yelled about human arrogance. Or, actually, she is exactly like that queen. Sharp, proud, dangerous, funny. He just wasn't old enough to appreciate it the first time. He tries not to think about it too much. On the third day, they crest a ridge and look down into a wide bowl of a valley. Red-tiled roofs everywhere. Smokestacks. A big central plaza. Winding rivers. It is one of the biggest free cities on the continent. The Volcania Union. Not a kingdom, a merchant and craftsman council city. Any race allowed, as long as you follow the rules and pay your taxes. Demi-humans everywhere. Elves running spice stalls. Dwarves in the smithing quarter. Beast races running mercenary companies. A few demons even. Quietly, if their glamours are good and their behavior is quieter. Perfect place to hide. Perfect place to hunt. They walk in through the north gate. The gate guards are a beastkin and a human, working together, doing the boring job of checking papers. Elphus hands over forged papers she pulled out of some hidden pocket in her tattered dress, and did not explain the source of. Shin hands over papers he made her forge for him during a rest break. The guards squint, stamp, wave them through. Welcome to Volcania. Try not to start any fights. Shin's first stop is the swordsmith quarter. He walks into the biggest, ugliest, loudest smithy on the block. A hunched dwarf with a beard down to his boots is beating a strip of red-hot steel into a curve. He does not look up. 10 silver for a good long sword, he growls. 20 for a better one. 50 for one that will not embarrass you. What do you want, boy? Custom, Shin says. The dwarf snorts without looking up. I have a specific weight, Shin says. A specific balance. A specific alloy. And I want a rune slot in the pommel that I can swap magic cores in and out of, on the fly, mid-combat. The dwarf finally looks up, squints at him, squints harder. You are 12 years old. 16, actually. You are 16 and you want a hot swap core weapon. Yes. Do you know what a hot swap core weapon costs? No. But I have gold I did not earn. The dwarf stares at him for a long second. Then he starts laughing. A big rolling belly laugh. He wipes his eyes. Fine, boy, he says. Fine. I do not know who you are, but you are the most entertaining customer I have had all month. Sit. Draw me your specs. Shin sits. He draws the specs. The dwarf reads them. The dwarf's eyebrows crawl up his forehead. The dwarf says a lot of quiet dwarf words that would probably not be safe for a family audience. Then the dwarf names an obscene price. Shin pays half up front, straight from Ryu's treasury bag, and the dwarf's mood improves considerably. 2 weeks, the dwarf says. Come back in 2 weeks. Shin nods. Sure. Now, Phase 2. Adventurer registration. The Volcania Adventurers Guild is exactly what he expected. A big open hall with a bar at one end and a job board at the other. Adventurers of every race lounging around, drinking, arguing, comparing loot. A receptionist behind the counter with the extremely tired expression of a woman who has been asked stupid questions all day. Shin walks up. Behind him, Elphus, in her glamour, walks with the casual sway of a lesser noble slumming it. She is enjoying pretending to be someone unimportant. She is clearly enjoying it too much. 2, please, Shin says. 2 what? 2 adventurer registrations. She looks at him, looks past him at Elphus. You are a child, she says. I am 16. You are a small child, and your friend looks like she has never held a knife. Elphus, without breaking eye contact, reaches over the counter, plucks the receptionist's own pen out of her hand, spins it between her fingers, and puts it back down, all in about a second and a half. The receptionist blinks. Fine, she says. Fine. Registration includes a combat test. No magic items, no enchanted weapons. Standard practice blade. You spar against a guild veteran. If you land a solid touch, or if you last 2 minutes without getting flattened, you pass. Failure means you go home and grow up first. Try not to embarrass me. She hands them practice blades. Points at a sparring ring off to the side. Waiting in the ring is a big lizard man. Not a small lizard man. A big one. Muscle stacked on muscle. tail thick as a leg, old scars on his snout. He is smiling, in the way lizardmen smile, which mostly involves showing more teeth than you strictly need. Fresh meat, he growls. Delightful. The hall goes quiet around them. Adventurers put their mugs down. This is entertainment. This is the good part of the afternoon. New registrants getting flattened by the resident scaly gatekeeper. Elphys looks at Shin. Shin looks at her. You first, he says. You are the guest. You are too kind, she says. She steps into the ring. Practice blade in one hand. Human glamour face, small frame, deceptively bored expression. The lizard man charges her. She sidesteps like she is stepping around a wet floor sign. Practice blade taps the lizard man on the base of the neck as he goes past. Timed perfectly. If it had been real, it would have been the killing spot. He stops, turns around, blinks a slow lizard blink. The hall goes very quiet. The receptionist from behind the counter says, "Well, that's a pass." Elphys curtsies, walks out of the ring, hands the blade to Shin on her way past. "Try to be entertaining," she murmurs. Shin steps in. The lizard man is looking at him with a different kind of attention now. He is not going to make the mistake he made with Elphys. He raises his blade, gets low, waits. Shin, honestly, considers just walking up and tapping him. But the crowd deserves a show, and he wants to test out his new body under real conditions. So he grins, drops into a proper old Matsu stance, and beckons. The lizard man charges. Shin doesn't sidestep. He steps in, diagonally, cuts inside the lizard man's swing, taps his sword hand to disarm, slides past his shoulder, taps his kidney, spins, taps him on the back of the neck. 3 touches. Would have been a kill 3 times over. Then he stops, stands, waits. The lizard man stands very still, feels the 3 taps in 3 different places, looks down at his own arm and remembers that his sword is now on the floor. The hall erupts. Cheers, whistles, a couple of coins hitting the ring floor. Someone at the bar loudly declares that the little bastard is going to be a problem. The lizard man starts laughing, big rumbling laugh, bows to Shin, waves him off, wanders off to the bar to nurse his pride with a very large drink. The receptionist, at the counter, looks at both of them. "Names," she says. And she is not tired anymore. She is interested. "Shin," says Shin. "Ellie," says Elphys, who has been calling herself that since the labyrinth for reasons Shin still finds embarrassing. "Party name." They look at each other. Elphys opens her mouth. "Shin, faster," says. "Just Shin and Ellie, please. Do not let her name it, please." "Fine," the receptionist says. "Registered. Silver rank starting badges. Standard rules. Do not kill townsfolk. Do not accept illegal quests. Do not embarrass the guild. Congratulations." She stamps 2 small silver badges and pushes them across the counter. Then she leans in a little. "Word to the wise," she says quieter. "If your business here involves anything to do with the wolf race in this town, tread carefully. There is a wolf tribe running most of the northern quarter. Big operation. Mercenary work, a little smuggling. Their chieftain is a very old wolf with a very long memory. If you are here to hunt, do not do it in the guild's name. And do not hunt in daylight. The wolves have eyes everywhere." Shin doesn't blink. "Thanks," he says. They take their badges, turn, walk out. Behind them, the guild hall goes back to its noise. But Shin has already registered the exact moment the receptionist said Wolf Tribe Northern Quarter. That is his lead. That is his direction. That is where the wolf who guided the party into the Demon King's throne room 30 years ago is currently, probably, sitting on a fat pile of gold and telling his grandkids war stories. Perfect. They step out of the guild hall into afternoon sun. The plaza is packed, merchants shouting, kids running past, a minstrel playing something upbeat on a lute, a whole city living its normal life without any idea that a resummoned hero and a former demon king just registered for adventurer badges in its front lobby. Shin stretches, looks up at the sky, feels the sun on his new face, then he stops walking. The back of his neck is prickling. He does not turn his head. He does not react. He just widens his awareness, the way old Matsu learned to do in his 2nd year of the war, and lets the crowd around him blur into shapes, and one shape sharpens. Somewhere in the crowd, in the direction of a fruit stall, someone is watching him, not casually, not curiously, with intent, the way a hunter watches a rabbit. Steady, locked on, full attention. He does not know who. He does not know what race. He does not know if it is one of Ryu's leftovers, or a royal spy who beat them to the city, or a wolf scout who already knows something is off, or something even worse, one of the other party members, one of the ones whose names have been erased from the records. But he can feel it clearly. And whoever it is, they are not looking away. Elphys beside him catches the change in his posture, doesn't turn her head either, speaks quietly. "Company," she murmurs. "Company," he agrees. She smiles a very small smile, the kind of smile that is not a smile at all. They start walking again. Casual. Two new adventurers looking for lodging, two harmless kids in a big city. He does not look at the fruit stall. He does not need to. The gaze follows them, steady, patient, locked on. Whoever it is, they have decided Shin is worth watching, which means they know something, which means, whatever this is, it starts now. Old Matsu died in a throne room believing in the wrong people. New Shin walks out of an adventurer's guild in a strange city with a former demon king at his side, a hunter's stare on his back, and the crest on his hand humming warm and awake for the first time in 3 decades. Somewhere out east, Donis is drinking demon wine and laughing at a joke he will not be laughing at much longer. Somewhere north, Lucy is smiling that same soft smile at some other trusting fool. Somewhere far to the west, Ortega is sitting on a stolen throne. And somewhere very close, right now, in this plaza, in this crowd, someone is watching a boy who is not supposed to exist. The wind picks up. The badge on his chest catches the sun. He smiles. Come on then, he thinks. Come and see.